Action. It's been too long. Hey, Nicola.
Hey, Katie.
Good to see you again.
You too.
So
It's
we're
been a while
back.
since we've done this.
It has been. It's been quite a bit. There's been a lot going on
Yes,
in our lives and in the world, and but we're back. And
we are.
for this chat, why?
Ignite.
Yeah.
Like,
Today we're going to be talking about the stuff we've got coming up, some important news, some updates, events that our listeners and our members and anybody who's supportive of the LGBTQIA plus first responder community is going to want to know about, especially those in our region, to be involved in if you can. So let's dive into Ignite.
let's. Yeah.
The RFP Ignite conference. This is our first conference, and our theme is unity in service, which I love.
Yes. Yeah.
What made you come up with that?
Going through certain things, and it was like how are we bringing that gap, that bridging that gap between the LGBT community and our first responder community, and bringing a unity to it.
Mhm.
And like many of our LGBT first responders, we have this gap, right? Of we don't overly belong to one fully, right? Because sometimes the LGBT community looks at the first responders as just first responders and not part of that LGBT community, and vice versa. The first responders are not looking at them fully. So, like, how do we unite that and bring it together in what we do is service? And yeah, that's really where it came from.
I love the theme that you picked. And like every time, whenever I'm like doing work for the conference or I'm like talking to people about it, I come back to our website because we have a particular page dedicated to to the conference, and I see
Yep,
unity and service, and it always is just like that's it.
that's
That's
it.
it.
I
And
get kind of goosebumps thinking about it right now. Like, yeah,
I know, and it's just the concept of unity, I feel like really is like a very deep thread for us to be holding on to right now when
absolutely.
everything feels so divided. So this idea that everyone is going to come together and there's going to be this sense of unity of this creating this space, right? Making this space for this community that feels like they fall through the cracks so often or that they're not fully embraced by either of those communities, and really offering an opportunity, like a day to kind of
Yeah,
recharge, get connected,
yeah,
and then for our content for the day, there's going to be focus on personal growth and professional development, but also I kind of feel like an individual, you know, oh God, this is a therapy word, so I don't know. But healing. I
yes,
mean, you can put your own spin on it, but like from my like mental health perspective, I think it can be incredibly healing to just
yeah,
come together in a space where we feel seen and heard and empowered and
yes.
hopeful.
Yes, and I mean, and the ignite came from like igniting that human connection again, right? Like bringing these people together and it reigniting that human connection that feels so lost right now. And that's where we came up with the word ignite for the conference name too. So like, yeah, it's yeah,
It's going to be amazing. We're going to have a great time.
yeah,
In terms of the details of the conference, right? What you need to know, it's going to be on May 3rd this year from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. That is a Saturday.
yep.
We're going to be gathering at the Meeting House in Columbia. And keep in mind, all these details are on our website. All the details, the address, everything's right there.
Gonna be below.
Oh, yes, and linked in the description box. Exactly. And some of the like kind of additional things that we're gonna be focused on in terms of unity, bringing everyone together, is that we're gonna do a happy hour meet and greet the evening before
Yep.
on Friday, May 2nd, from like 6:30 to 8:30
Yep.
at Cushwa Tap House and Rad Pies in
Yep.
Columbia, Maryland, which is going to be fun. It's a great place. I've been there many times, and it's just an awesome space. And so we're gonna preemptively get together and and connect and kind of start that unification process, if you will, by just having this casual gathering so that we can meet each other, welcome each other, and get ready for the conference ahead.
Yep. Definitely gonna be like just getting the conversation started, right? Like, yeah. So it's gonna be a great time
Yeah, I
in a
love that.
relaxed space, right? So yeah.
Yes. So let's take a little bit of time and talk about what people should expect from the conference.
So registration obviously coming in. Little bit of food for you because food is always good, right? Fill you up, start for the day. Conference is going to start. We've got great keynote speaker, Jeremy Browning. He is the director of Maryland Commission on LGBT Affairs. He has an extensive background in public, nonprofit, also the private sector, and he is the founder of Annapolis Pride, which is pretty amazing. So he's our keynote speaker. Next up, we've got Jabari Lyles. They're a trans non-binary educator, community organizer, public administrator, and consultant with over 15 years of experience, right? Classroom teacher in both public and independent schools within Baltimore City, which is a challenge in itself. And they've been championing for LGBT issues for over a decade now. So that's going to be really amazing. They talk a lot about like the awareness, the LGBT awareness. And as you know, we've got this vast spectrum within our LGBT community, and it's about how we can respectively talk to everybody within our community. And they're going to do an amazing job, specialized towards our public safety.
And then don't you have a workshop, right?
I might have a little one. Yeah.
I thought so.
So my section is going to be on building your liaison program, right? So what do you need to build your liaison program? And it doesn't have to be this big, elaborate program that comes
Like,
out. Right. No, you can start small, right? And you can work your way up from there. It's going to be about like the peer support and why peer support is different for your LGBT members. What things we need to be able to do, like cultural competencies, inclusion training, awareness trainings. Many of the questions for, especially in my job, was, well, how do we ask respectfully, like what their gender is? And I'm like, what is your sex assigned at birth? Right? Because in the medical field, which we work in, it is important to know that because there are other things that go along with that. But
it's
you then,
relevant.
it's relevant, right? But then we make sure we're using the right pronouns, the right names, and we're not like, being disrespectful in any way. And we can ask our questions respectfully. How do we get that out into the masses, right?
Just
Of
like as a
our
standard, right?
as a standard within our department, right? So, like building those programs up, they start small, you can build it up. And then we've got an awesome speaker after me who is going to be talking about community reach out, and that's Corporal Timothy Green from PG Police Department. He does an amazing job reaching out to the community. He does a whole Pride Walk in June. June 7th is his Pride Walk, and it's going to be at National Harbor. We're signed up for it. We'll be there.
I'm so excited to hear both of our speakers.
And we have our mental health component, which is
Yeah.
our own Katie.
Yes. Me
Oh,
and another incredible provider, Raquel Murphy, we're both licensed clinical professional counselors in the state of Maryland. And I'm going to be really acting as like a supportive role to Raquel because she's going to be focusing on trauma-informed care. And I think that that's just such a really important topic that I'm going to then be kind of coming in with a more supportive space to talk about communication and how trauma and activated nervous systems just get in the way and really hinder effective communication, which we know has some really real impacts and consequences, right? So, as a first responder, you need as much support as you can. Oh my God, Chandler.
hey, Chandler. Making his video debut.
And yet it can be really, really, really challenging when you come home and the family life gets interrupted by things like spillover and the impacts of trauma. And so then that can leave the first responder feeling that much more isolated and can really deteriorate in terms of mental and emotional health when you feel like you have really no one that fully understands you. And then when we pull in that LGBTQIA aspect where maybe you're not feeling fully embraced at your department, you come home and you're having a difficult time at home because your family's not really embracing or understanding the demands and challenges of the job, that can be a real nightmare
Yeah.
and can really lead down to those more serious mental health concerns that come into play that can affect our first responders. And so we're going to be kind of teaming up. I love a
Well,
good collaboration.
you do indeed.
And so we're going to be teaming up to really talk about and highlight those aspects of both trauma-informed care from the perspective of offering that to the community,
Yep.
right? The
Yep.
first responders being able to take those things and offer it to the community that you serve, and also highlighting the trauma-informed care that first responders they themselves need
Yep.
in order to be well and function as efficiently as possible in the job and in life.
Yeah, I'm excited for that session. I am really. It just seems, yeah, yeah,
I love talking about communication. I'm a communication coach in addition to a therapist. And so I think it's so imperative that when we're able to communicate well, so many points of our lives improve.
yeah.
And then our emotional and mental well-being improves. And so I see it as a domino effect. So we're going to be talking about that and highlighting those aspects of kind of the mental health side of things. One thing that I always like to highlight is that we have a very kind of personal stake
Yep.
in first responder well-being. And so Raquel, for example, is a military spouse
Yep.
and is the daughter of a police officer. So she has a really good kind of lived experience around what it's like to be family loved ones and also watch and witness and kind of be threaded into the experience of what it's like
Yep.
for a first responder and their family. And I myself am a law enforcement officer spouse.
I think that's like part of why we like obviously when we first brought you in, it was amazing because bringing that in, like law enforcement spouse, like being able to bring it into like you're still part of that big first responder family that we have, right?
Mhm.
And Raquel, same. When I was meeting with her, just it felt right because of your lived experiences. While you're not a first responder, you have that connection to that big first responder family.
And I think that we can all agree that we don't necessarily need to have walked in your shoes to have been walking side by side
Correct.
and
Yep.
be impacted in different ways, but still impacted, and then also watched how and witnessed how you've been impacted, right? And so I'm really hopeful that that we'll be able to provide some really useful, not just education, but like practical strategies, useful tools
Yeah.
to attendees to be able to immediately take home and start utilizing and implementing in order to help navigate those aspects of trauma that spill over into the daily life, to be able to cope a little bit more effectively, perhaps,
Right.
and access to more resources to consider in terms of how to treat and how to improve the impacts of trauma and just other mental health concerns
Yep.
that first responders, just like anyone else, experience in their lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, what do you think are like the primary takeaways from showing up and hanging out with us that day?
I'm going to say it's about embracing trust within your community and your people. Again, that unity of bringing people together. Um, Trust me, when we go out and we fight fires or we're going out to save a life or we've got a call that we need to go and your partner's there and it's a breaking and entering, it's a robbery, it's a stabbing, it's a shooting, right? We're coming together. There's no doubt about that, right? It's about the conversations that happen afterwards, right? It's about those things that happen afterwards. How can we make those better? So I really think it's about enhancing, like building partnerships and relationships that are more real, right? Again, we have so many people that are still in the closet and we're sitting around the kitchen table and people are not talking about their families. They're not talking about it because they're still too scared and keep that to themselves because they might not be the same person to the mass around the table. Um, so I think that's a really big part of it for me,
That's
right?
huge, right? Having to hide and hold um, some of those important aspects of yourself, and even perhaps feeling like that's necessary for safety, right?
Right.
The idea of us coming together to improve that workplace inclusivity it just reminds me, as you were talking, it reminds me of, whenever there's a natural disaster, right? Everyone comes together. No one's arguing or bickering or criticizing or nitpicking at elements of who the people are that are coming
Right.
together. They're not doing that. They're just joining up for this primary cause of helping the community.
Right.
And I see first responders as basically being in that role every day, is just coming
Yeah,
together,
absolutely.
utilizing the resources to help the community that they serve. And yet, there's this kind of wild experience that you have of like once that emergency is over, then it kind of switches back to the day to day of, am I welcome here? Can I be who I am authentically here? And am I safe here?
Right. And it's a systemic issue, right? So how do we address those systemic issues? And I think building these liaison programs, having the opportunity to talk about trauma, to be able to communicate, to be able to have the awareness trainings and levels, I think that opens it up to being more inclusive, more transparent, more accountable. It allows the community to know that you are more inclusive, right? Which gives you more representation within your department.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So come and join us on May
Please.
3rd and learn from some experts and connect with your community and take this opportunity to not just learn what you might need to make your life at work and at home better, but also to be a bigger part of the change that we need so desperately. We needed it before, we need it now more than ever. Every day, first responders sacrifice so much to help the community, and we need to continue to build spaces for them to continue to thrive and grow.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do have scholarships still available.
Yes, tell everybody about the scholarship.
So it's a scholarship opportunity for if you've got LGBT liaisons within your department. If you are planning on building, like fully committed to building your LGBT, you can apply. You're going to go to our info@respondersforpride.org email address, send a letter of interest in the scholarship program. Tickets are normally $150. This conference would be completely free for you for this day.
I know that we're going to link that below, but where can people easily access that if they want to inquire about
It
about
is on the conference page for the scholarships. Yep.
Sweet. So yeah, if you are a liaison, if you're in the works to become a liaison, reach out to us. We want to invite you and welcome you with open arms to attend at no cost. But whoever attends, whether you're buying that ticket or you're getting the scholarship ticket, like Nicola said, we're going to be providing a light breakfast as well as lunch.
Yeah.
So we are going to feed you, which has always been an
Feeding
important
you.
reason why I go to
Yes.
conferences. Keeping it real.
Yeah.
In addition to all the amazing, again, connections and information you're going to get.
Yeah.
So join us for Ignite 2025.
Yes, please do.
Now, moving on to, we have some exciting, even more, I don't know if it's more exciting, but it's brand new exciting news
It
that we
is
just found out
brand new
last
too.
night.
Yes. I'm stoked for this one.
Do you want to tell them or do you want me to tell them?
You tell them.
Nicola and I were going to co-present at the fourth World LGBTQI plus conference in Austin, Texas this year. It looks like it's going to be great, great fun.
Yeah.
From the pictures that I've seen from previous years. It's going to be in August, early August, which is going to be hot, and I am here for it. I
Yes,
am
me
like
too.
I'm a fair pale little thing, but I don't even care. Throw me down there. I love Austin, Texas. I'm excited to revisit that city and to be able to be a part of this really exciting, incredible conference. We are going to be presenting on strength and community leveraging LGBTQIA plus identity as a source of leadership and wellness. So
Yes,
we're really bringing this perspective that not only do we need an embracing and inclusive environment for our LGBTQIA first responders, but we really see it as an asset. We see queer identity as an asset in public safety,
absolutely.
and that's what we're going to be focusing on and highlighting when we present there in August.
Yeah, I'm so excited because there was a lot of proposals that came in and we got picked to do this. It's huge and it's going to get the Responders for Pride name out there more. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely excited for this one.
I'm really
My
excited.
sister lives in Austin. I called her yesterday and
Okay.
she's excited. She's like, "Yay!" So, yeah. And Austin Pride is right after the conference, which is amazing too.
Is it? Oh, I didn't know that.
It's August 9th. Yeah, August 9th. It's the day after. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the
Well,
next day.
that city's gonna be popping.
Yes, it's going
I
to be
cannot
amazing.
wait. Yeah, we're gonna definitely be posting. I'm thinking we're gonna be live streaming for points, right?
Yep,
So please
absolutely.
stay tuned. Keep an eye on our socials because we are going to just give everyone a sneak peek and an inside look into the conference experience and highlighting the things that we think are going to be valuable to our responders for Pride community. So keep an eye out. We will let you know and we will keep reminding you when it's coming up. And then anything else we want to highlight before we go?
Yeah, we're going to be doing some more podcasts coming up.
Yeah.
Similar things to what we've done in the past, like the spillover, the schedules. It's going to be similar to that content. We're also going to start a spotlight, right? Where we're going to be spotlighting members
Yeah.
of public safety, members that support Responders for Pride, and really, show why this is important, get their story out, and why they feel like this is so good. So that's going to be an amazing series that's going to be coming up. So yeah.
I cannot wait for that. I am really excited to. Oh, that reminds me. You know what we didn't talk about? We didn't highlight for the conference. We're going to be doing a panel discussion.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
that
We've got
reminded me because of the interviews because I love oh man I love this stuff and I'm going to be running the panel and it made me remember that yeah so I cannot wait for us to be inviting these incredible members of the community onto the pod and just learning more about them, their lived experiences, and just what it's like. Again, bringing that concept of unity back,
yeah,
even if it's not in-person connection, hearing the stories from other members of
yeah.
the community. I think is invaluable for listeners and for just anybody out there, especially if you're feeling super alone and not embraced that there is a community out here
Yeah.
for you that you can hear from and learn about other members of the community. So
It's going to be similar to like our roundtable, right? Where we just sat down and had a conversation and just talked and just,
I
yeah.
love the
It's
human
amazing how it
connection.
all comes back to that unity, right? And bringing
Yeah,
it in. Yeah, love it. And igniting a human connection.
that's
It's
what we're about.
what we're about. I love it.
All right. Well, any final thoughts before we go?
I know I'm good. It's
Pumped.
talking about this has got this gloomy day that we've got going on outside has just, yes, yes, that is how
I know.
exactly how I'm feeling right now. It's got me stoked for everything we've got coming up. So super excited for it.
I am too. Well, until next time, thanks everybody for listening and or watching. And we will be in touch soon. Can't wait to see you at Ignite and beyond.
All right, everybody have a great day.
See ya. Stay
See ya.
safe out there.